Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I would like to share some identical or unique features of Bacillus anthracis. Okay. First of all, we can go through an introduction to Bacillus genus. Actually, the sporogenus as well as rod-shaped bacteria are classified into two genera, that is the aerobic bacilli and the anaerobic clostridia. This genus, that is Bacillus genus, consists of aerobic bacilli forming heat resistant spores, that is they have ability to form heat resistant spores, and their spores are ubiquitous in nature, that is they can present everywhere in the environment, being found in the soil, dust, water, air, etc. And these spores constitute the commonest contaminant in the bacteriological culture media. Then another feature is that they are gram positive in nature. That is, when we subjected to gram staining, they seen as purple colored bacilli. Okay. And this genus generally motile with the peritrichous flagella, but there is some exceptions, some are non-motile. And this Bacillus genus includes psychrophilic, mesophilic and thermophilic species. Psychrophilic means the organism that can grow on cold condition, right? And mesophilic means in medium condition, medium temperature, and thermophilic species means the organism that grow in high temperature. So these three type of organisms are included, or three type of species are included in this Bacillus genus. Okay, and their maximum temperature being 75 degrees Celsius and minimum being 5 degrees Celsius. Then another feature is that they can tolerate salt concentration, that is their salt tolerance varies from less than 2% to 25% of NaCl. Then major pathogens of this genus are Bacillus anthracis and Bacillus cereus. This Bacillus anthracis is the causative agent of anthrax, and Bacillus cereus causes food infection, mainly gastroenteritis. Okay. Then there are some pathogenic species are included in this genus that causes opportunistic infection. Among them, this Bacillus anthracis is the major pathogen that causes anthrax. Right. And then this Bacillus anthracis have some considerable historical interest. That is some historical backgrounds. That is, it was the first pathogenic bacteria to be observed under the microscope. And this first pathogenic bacteria is observed by Polander in 1849. And this infection, that is anthrax infection, is the first communicable disease shown to be transmitted by inoculation of infected blood. It is the first infection that is transmitted through infected blood, which is discovered by the scientist Devine in 1850. Again, this Bacillus anthracis is the first bacillus to be isolated in pure culture by Koch in 1876, and it is the first bacterium used for the preparation of attenuated vaccine. This vaccine preparation is first achieved by Pasteur in 1881. Okay, these are the some historical importance achieved or attached to the Bacillus anthracis. Okay, next we are going to discuss about the identical or unique features of Bacillus anthracis. First of all, its morphology. The Bacillus anthracis is one of the largest pathogenic bacteria, and its size is 3 to 10 micrometer in length and 1 to 1.6 micrometer in breadth. That is its size, and it is the largest pathogenic bacteria. Okay, and it is gram positive and non-acid fast. That is, when we subjected to gram staining, it is seen as gram positive, and it is also non-acid fast. Then it is non-motile, unlike other species. That is, most of the species in this genus, that is Bacillus genus, are motile, but there is an exception, that is Bacillus anthracis, which is non-motile. Then in tissues as well as in cultures, they are arranged as single or in pairs or in short chains, and the entire chains being surrounded by capsule. So this Bacillus anthracis is capsulated, and its capsule surrounds the entire chain. Okay. And this capsule is polypeptide in nature, which is composed of polymer of D-glutamic acid. And the capsule formation does not occur under ordinary condition of culture, but their formation occur under the presence of bicarbonate or incubated under 10 to 25 percentage carbon dioxide. That is, bicarbonate or carbon dioxide is necessary for their formation of capsule. Okay. Then if the organism or bacillus grow in serum, albumin, charcoal or starch containing media, they form capsule in the absence of carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide is not necessary for the capsule formation when they are grown in serum, albumin, charcoal or starch containing media. Okay. Then Bacillus anthracis is spore forming organism. These spores are formed in the culture or in the soil but never occur in the animal body during lifetime, or in the host body they do not form spore. Their spore formation occur in culture or in soil. Okay. Then this sporulation occur under unfavorable condition. Spore formation mainly occur under unfavorable condition, and this formation or spore formation in bacillus can be enhanced by the presence or addition of distilled water or 2% of sodium chloride or growth in oxalated agar. These are the some conditions that induce the formation of spores in bacillus anthracis. Okay. And sporulation can be inhibited by the calcium chloride. That is, if there is calcium chloride present in the culture media or in the soil, which inhibit the spore formation in the anthracis. Okay. Then the spores are central or subterminal. Its location may be central or subterminal, and its shape may be elliptical or oval. And this spores of Bacillus anthracis is same width as its bacillary body, so that they do not cause any bulging of the vegetative cell. Is the same size as the bacillary body. Okay. And here you can see the gram stained picture of the Bacillus anthracis. That is, they are arranged in single or in pairs or in short chains, and spores are arranged in central or in subterminal position, and the spores are the same width as the bacillary body, so there is no any bulging of vegetative cell, etc. Okay. Okay, next is about their cultural characteristics. Here, Bacillus anthracis is an aerobic or facultative anaerobes. That is, they can grow in the presence as well as absence of oxygen with a temperature range of 12 to 45 degrees Celsius, and their optimum being 35 to 37 degrees Celsius. Okay. Then the temperature needed for their sporulation is 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. That is the maximum temperature needed for their sporulation. Okay. Then their growth occur in ordinary media like nutrient agar, nutrient growth, etc. That is, nutrient agar or ordinary media is enough for their growth. And in cultures, this bacilli are arranged end to end long chains or short chains, and the end of the bacilli is truncated or concave in structure, somewhat swollen to the end. Okay, so this represent a bamboo stick appearance, right? That is, the bacillus are arranged in culture as short or long chains with the concave end to end is truncated or concave, and this appearance is known as bamboo stick appearance. Okay. And on cultures, they form round colonies with a diameter of 2 to 3 millimeter, and these colonies are raised dull, opaque, grayish white with a frosted glass appearance. That is, the colony are raised dull in nature, opaque, and their color may be grayish white, and they have frosted glass appearance. Frosted glass appearance means if we kept a glass inside a freezer, you can see the glass become opaque, right? A frosted appearance on the glass, right? That is known as frosted glass appearance. Okay. Then, under the low power microscope, the edge of the colony resembling locks of matted hair, which is known as Medusa head appearance. That is, when we focus the edge of the colony through low power microscope, it's seen as matted hair. That matted hair appearance is known as Medusa head appearance. Okay. Then on gelatin strap culture, they form as inverted fir tree appearance with a slow liquefaction. Then on blood agar, they are non-hemolytic, but some strains shows narrow hemolysis. Okay. Then in broth, their growth occur as floccular deposit with no turbidity. And virulent strains of Bacillus anthracis form rough colonies, and non-pathogenic strains form smooth colonies. Here you can see the medusa head appearance. That is, when we focus through a low power microscope, the edge of the colony resembles locked matted hair, right? That appearance is known as medusa head appearance, that you can see in this picture. Okay. Then another picture is that is the stab culture. In stab culture, they form fir tree appearance, that is inverted fir tree appearance. You can see the fir tree appearance in the stab culture with the slow liquefaction. Okay. Then, when Bacillus anthracis is grown on the surface of solid media, this media containing 0.05 to zero point 0.5 units of penicillin, they produces large spherical colonies, and these colonies are occur in chains on the surface of the agar, which are resembling string of pearls. Okay. That is, when the Bacillus anthracis grown in the pencil containing media, they produces large spherical colonies, and these colonies are arranged in the surface of agar as string of pearls, and this is known as string of pearls reaction. And this reaction or this characteristics of Bacillus anthracis help to differentiate the Bacillus anthracis from Bacillus cereus. Okay. And another useful test of differentiation in the susceptibility of Bacillus anthracis to gamma phage. That is, this Bacillus anthracis is highly susceptible or sensitive to gamma phage. That is also helpful for the differentiation of Bacillus anthracis from other Bacillus species. Okay. Then a selective media known as pleat media is used for the selective isolation of Bacillus anthracis. This is a hurt infusion agar that containing polymyxin, lysozyme and EDTA as well as thallus acetate. That is, this compounds like polymyxin, lysozyme, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid and thallus acetate is added into hurt infusion agar and form pleat media. This pleat media is useful for the selective isolation of Bacillus anthracis from mixed culture containing other spore bearing bacilli. Okay. So this string of pearl reaction as well as their susceptibility to gamma phage is useful for or used for the differentiation of Bacillus anthracis from other Bacillus species. Then next is about their biochemical reactions. Here this Bacillus anthracis have ability to ferment glucose, maltose and sucrose with the production of acid, no gas. And their nitrate reduction test is positive, that is they can reduce the nitrates into nitrites. Then catalase is formed, that is catalase test is positive and oxidase test is negative. And their urease test is also negative, that is they cannot form urease enzyme as well as oxidase enzyme, they can only form catalase enzyme. Okay. Then indole test is positive as well as Voges-Proskauer also positive in case of Bacillus anthracis. These are about biochemical reactions of Bacillus anthracis. Okay. Next is about their resistance. Here Bacillus anthracis are not particularly resistant, that is they are not particularly stable. They can be destroyed by heating at 60 degrees Celsius in 30 minutes. Okay. Then in the carcasses of animals, carcasses means dead body of animals. Okay. So in the carcasses of animals which have died of anthrax, the bacilli remain viable in the bone marrow for a week and in the skin for 2 weeks. That is, this Bacillus anthracis can be isolated from the skin or bone marrow after the death of the animal which have this anthrax infection. Okay. Clear? Here this Bacillus anthrax remain viable or active in the bone marrow as well as in the skin of the animal which have died of anthrax for a week as well as for 2 weeks respectively. Okay. But their spores are highly resistant to physical and chemical agent. They have been isolated from naturally infected soil after as long as 60 years. That is, after 60 years, the Bacillus anthracis can be isolated from the infected soil. Okay, that much time they can remain viable in the infected soil, right? And the spores also resist dry heating at 140 degrees Celsius for 1 to 3 hours and boiling for 10 minutes. And also they resist some antiseptics like 5% phenol, mercury chloride, etc. As mercury chloride resist mercury chloride for 70 hours and 5% phenol for a week. Okay, but they are sensitive towards potassium permanganate. That is, potassium permanganate can kill the spores in 15 minutes. And in some countries, this animal products are or animal products that containing spores are destroyed by a method known as deckering. In this deckering is the method that is used for destroy the spores present in the imported animal products. Okay, this deckering process is achieved by the use of formaldehyde or the treatment with the formaldehyde. In case of wool, this 2% of formaldehyde is used to treat the wool at 30 to 40 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. And in case of animal hairs and bristles, this 0.25% of formaldehyde is added, or this wool hair or bristle is treated with the 0.25% of formaldehyde at 60 degrees Celsius. Okay, that method is known as deckering, right? So the bacillus or vegetative cell of the Bacillus anthracis is not particularly resistant. They can be easily destroyed by heating, but they remain viable in the carcasses of animal after a week or 2 week. Okay, but their spores are highly resistant to physical and chemicals. Physical meaning that is boiling. They resist boiling as well as dry heat. Then antiseptics like or chemicals like phenol, mercury chloride are highly resistant. They are resistant to that antiseptics or chemicals. But permanganate, that is potassium permanganate, can kill the spores within 15 minutes. Okay, and the spore destruction method is known as deckering. That is achieved by the treatment with the formaldehyde. Okay, that's all about resistance. Then we can discuss their virulence factors. Okay, here Bacillus anthracis have two virulent factors, that is capsular polypeptide and the anthrax toxin. Okay, here capsular polypeptide are act as a virulent factor by inhibiting phagocytosis, right? Then the capsule formation is encoded by some genes, and these genes are present in the plasmid that contained in the Bacillus anthracis. That is, the genes that encode the capsule formation present in the plasmid occur in the Bacillus anthracis. Okay, and this loss of this plasmid which controls the capsule production lead to the loss of virulence. That is, this organism become non-pathogenic when the plasmid get removed, because this plasmids carry the genes encoding capsule production or capsule formation. Okay, and this is the basic procedure or basic mechanism used to formation or used for the production of vaccine. That is, live attenuated anthrax spore vaccine is prepared by removing the plasmid that carry the genes encoding capsule formation. Okay, then another virulent factor is anthrax toxin. This anthrax toxin also encoded by the genes present in the plasmid. Okay, and this toxin identification is done by animal inoculation method by using guinea pig, right? And this toxin, anthrax toxin, is a complex of three fractions. That is, they consist of three factors, that is edema factor, protective antigen factor, and lethal factor. This edema factor is also known as OF or factor 1. Protective antigen factor is also known as PA or factor 2. Lethal factor is also known as LF or factor 3. Okay, here these three factors are necessary for the toxicity of this anthrax toxin. That is, the toxin are not toxic individually, but the whole complex produces this infection, local edema, and generalized shock. Okay, that is, their toxicity is maintained by the three factors, not only the one of them. Okay, and among these factors, PA factor, that is protective antigen factor, is that bind to the receptors on the target cell surface. That is, the toxicity or toxin bind to the cell surface by the help of factor known as PA, that is protective antigen factor. Okay, and this binding of PA to the target cell facilitate the attachment of OF and LF. That is, first time this PA factor is bind to the target cell, then OF and LF attached to this PA that are already bind to the target cell. Okay, and this attachment of OF and LF to the PA that are already attached to the target cell, facilitating their entry or the entry of OF and LF into the cell. Okay, and this OF is a adenyl cyclase activity. Adenyl cyclase is an enzyme, and this OF has the same activity of adenyl cyclase, which is activated only inside the target cell, which is leading to the intracellular accumulation of cyclic AMP, that is lead to the edema. Edema means the fluid accumulation or excessive fluid accumulation in the body tissue, that is known as edema. This edema is caused by the OF lead to the intracellular accumulation of cyclic AMP, and this accumulation of cyclic AMP lead to edema. Okay, and the function of LF is mainly or commonly its function is the cause that causes cell death, but their mechanism is not known. That is, their mechanism it is not identified still now, but their general function is that causes cell death. Okay, then we already told that this anthrax toxin production is also encoded by the plasmid present in the Bacillus anthracis, right? So the loss of such a plasmid that carry the genes for the production of anthrax toxin also render the organism avirulent or non-pathogenic. So this also become a mechanism for the vaccine production by Pasteur. So that's all about virulence factor. Okay, next is pathogenicity. Here, Bacillus anthracis is a causative agent of a disease known as anthrax. And anthrax is primarily a disease of cattle and sheep, and less often horses and swine. But some other animals like rabbits, guinea pig, mice are also susceptible or sensitive to these infection. Okay, so we can say that the anthrax is a zoonosis and the natural infection of animals. Okay, and this infection is transmitted from animal to animal indirectly, but direct transmission from animal to animal is rare cases. Okay, like that the infection is also transmitted from animal to humans directly as well as indirectly. That is, infected animal shed their discharges from mouth, nose and rectum that contain large number of bacilli, which are sporulate in the soil, and the soil remain or soil become the source of infection for humans as well as animals. That is the indirect process of transmission from animal to animals as well as human beings. Okay, but direct transmission from animal to animal is a rare cases or rare process, but direct transmission occur in human beings. Okay, and the human anthrax may be three types, that is cutaneous anthrax, pulmonary anthrax and intestinal anthrax. And all these type of anthraxes, that is cutaneous, pulmonary as well as intestinal anthraxes, leads to septicemia or meningitis. That is, septicemia and meningitis become a complications of such all type of anthrax. Okay, first of all, cutaneous anthrax. In cutaneous anthrax, the entry of infection through skin, that is, the infecting bacilli enter into the host body through skin, mainly the skin of face, neck, hand, arm, and back. These are the usual site of the entry of the infecting bacilli. Okay. Then the symptom started with the formation of papule. Papule means it is a simple pimple like projection. It is formed after 1 to 3 days after infection. Okay, that is 1 to 3 days is the incubation period. After the entry of the infecting bacilli, after 1 to 3 days, the symptoms started with the formation of lesions known as papule, and this papule become vesicle containing fluid. This fluid may be clear or blood stained. Okay, Then the whole area of the vesicle become congested and edematous, that is swelling with the fluid accumulation, and several small lesions are developed around this vesicle or around the central necrotic lesions, which is covered by a black eschar. Eschar means a black coloration or black mark, that is known as eschar. And this complete or wall lesions is known as malignant pustule. That is, malignant pustule means first the papule is formed, then this papule become vesicle, then some of the lesions or several lesions are developed around the vesicle and become central necrotic lesion with a black markation or black coloration. That wall edemater or congested lesions is known as malignant pustule. Okay. And this cutaneous anthrax is common in dog workers. Dog workers means workers with the or the persons work with the hides and skin of the animals. They are known as dog workers, and this cutaneous infection common in such dog workers. Hence, this infection is also known as hide Potter's disease. Okay, and the meningitis or septicemia become a complication of such cutaneous anthrax. Okay. Okay, next is pulmonary anthrax. In pulmonary anthrax, the route of entry of infected bacilli is through inhalation, mainly through inhalation of dust particles that are contaminated with the infecting bacilli. Okay, and this pulmonary anthrax is common in wool workers or workers in wool factories. Hence, this pulmonary anthrax is also known as wool sorters disease. Okay, and the main symptom is pneumonia, and pneumonia with the hemorrhage means bleeding. This pneumonia with the bleeding is known as hemorrhagic pneumonia, which is the symptom of the pulmonary anthrax. And this pulmonary anthrax have high fatality rate or high death rate. Okay, then hemorrhagic meningitis is the complication of pulmonary anthrax. Another type of anthrax is intestinal anthrax. This intestinal anthrax is rare and is mainly common in primitive communities who eat the carcasses of animal dying of anthrax. Carcasses means dead body of animals. Okay, in such communities, this intestinal anthrax is common, and the symptom is enteritis with bloody diarrhea. Enteritis means the inflammation of intestine, that is known as enteritis. That is the symptom of intestinal anthrax with the bloody diarrhea. Okay, and this intestinal anthrax also have high fatality rate. So in conclusion, we can say that the human anthrax may be industrial or non-industrial. Industrial means the infection affecting the industrial workers, and non-industrial means the infection affecting the persons who are veterinarians, butchers, farmers, etc. That is known as non-industrial anthrax. Okay, that's all about pathogenicity. Okay, next is about their epidemiology. As we know that the anthrax is a zoonotic disease, right? So this Bacillus anthracis causes enzootic infection in India. Then annually 10,000 animals are infected by Bacillus anthracis. And in some countries like Britain, this disease, that is anthrax, is rare, but sometimes this infection is imported or transmitted to such countries through contaminated hides, bone meal fertilizers, and other animal products. Okay, then epizootic infection also occur in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, mainly in sheep. This epizootic infection causing human infection like cutaneous as well as meningoencephalitis. Okay, and its mortality rate is high. Then this anthrax infection in human beings provide permanent immunity. So secondary attack are extremely rare. And here the transmission is occur through directly or indirectly from animals to animals or animals to humans. Okay, then direct transmission from animal to animal is a rare process, and in human beings the infections transmitted directly or indirectly from the animals. Okay, then the route of infection is depending upon the type of infection like cutaneous, pulmonary, and intestinal anthrax. Okay, that is, in cutaneous infection the route of entry is through skin, then in pulmonary infection through inhalation, and intestinal infection is through injection. Okay, so this route of infection is mainly depend upon the type of infection caused by the Bacillus anthracis. That's all about epidemiology. Okay. Next is about laboratory diagnosis. First of all, we can discuss about the specimen collection. In animals or infected animals, the contaminated soil or the soil contaminated with the blood of infected animal can be or may be used as specimen, or the cut off from the or ear may be cut off from the carcass and sent to laboratory, or swabs soaked in their blood or blood of the animal, or several blood smears also used for the or used as specimen for the diagnosis of infection. This is all about the infection in infected animals. Okay, but in case of human beings, the specimen collected depending upon the type of infection. If cutaneous infection is the scrapings from the lesions or swab from the lesions may be used as specimen. And according to pulmonary anthrax, sputum may be collected as a specimen, and in case of industrial anthrax, feces may be collected as a specimen. Okay, then the anthrax may be diagnosed by, or the methods of identification is done by microscopy, culture methods, animal inoculation, serological demonstration, molecular methods. Okay, and in microscopic method we can use gram staining as well as spore staining for the identification of morphology of Bacillus anthracis. Okay, so gram staining, spore staining as well as capsule staining can be used to detect the morphology of Bacillus anthracis. Okay, the spores do not stain by ordinary method. It is stained by special techniques like Sudan black staining. Okay, when we stained with the Sudan black B, the spores are seen as fat globules within the bacilli. Okay, then for the observation of capsular material, bacillus should be, or the specimen should be treated or stained with a polychrome methylene blue, which shows amorphous purplish material around the bacilli, that is the capsular material. Okay, and this reaction is known as McFadden's reaction. That is, the treatment with the polychrome methylene blue stain shows purplish material, capsular material around the bacilli, and this reaction is known as McFadden's reactions. Then immunofluorescent microscopy, that is fluorescent antibody technique, also used for the diagnosis of Bacillus anthracis, that have high specificity and sensitivity. Okay. So next method is cultivation. Here Bacillus anthracis can be grown in nutrient agar, blood agar, gelatin swab, selective media like peat media or media containing penicillin, etc. Okay, that we already discussed in cultural characteristics, right? So isolation of bacillus is easy and can be done on ordinary media itself. Okay. Then another method is animal inoculation. Here guinea pig is used for the diagnosis of Bacillus anthracis. In this diagnosis, Bacillus anthracis or the specimen is inoculated in the shaven skin of the guinea pig. After some days, this guinea pig get infected, and the Bacillus anthracis can be isolated from the tissue of this guinea pig and confirmed by biochemical reactions or another cultivation or microscopic method. Okay. The next method is serological demonstration. Here, the antigen of the anthrax may be detected by the serological test known as Ascoli's thermoprecipitin test. This method or this test is used to detect the Bacillus anthracis antigen. This PA is an important antigen present in the anthrax, right? PA means it is protective antigen factor. It is a fraction of anthrax toxin, which is act as an important antigen present in the Bacillus anthracis. Okay, and this antigen can be detected by using Ascoli's precipitin, thermoprecipitin test. Okay. Okay, next is antibody detection by some serological methods. Here, the antibody against capsular material as well as protective antigen factor can be detected by several serological tests like gel diffusion, complement fixation, antigen coated tanned red cell agglutination, ELISA, etc. Okay, and some molecular methods like PCR and molecular typing methods like MLVA and AFLP can be used to detect the characteristics of Bacillus anthracis in the molecular level. So that's all about lab diagnosis or laboratory diagnosis of anthrax or infecting Bacillus anthracis. Okay. Next we can discuss about prophylaxis. Here hygiene practices as well as immunization are two methods we can adopt to control the anthrax disease. Prevention of human anthrax mainly done by using several general methods like improvement of factory hygiene, proper sterilization of animal products, etc. And the carcasses of animals suspected to have died of anthrax should be buried deep in the soil. That prevent the contamination, soil contamination. Okay. Then immunization is the another method used to control the anthrax disease. Okay. Here several vaccines are used for active immunization like Pasteur's anthrax vaccine, Stern vaccine, Masucci vaccine. This Pasteur anthrax vaccine contain anthrax bacilli that are attenuated by growth at 42 to 43 degrees Celsius. That is, their infectivity is removed by growing them at 42 to 43 degrees Celsius. This live attenuated Bacillus anthracis is used as vaccine, that is known as Pasteur's anthrax vaccine. Okay. Okay, another two vaccines are Stern vaccine and Masucci vaccine. These two vaccines consist of spores of attenuated strain. Okay, and these three vaccines like Pasteur anthrax vaccine, Stern vaccine and Masucci vaccine only used for the vaccination in animals, not for human use. Okay. Then this spore vaccine gave good result with the vaccination in animals. This give protection about a year following single injection. Okay. Then for human use, they developed a toxoid, that is anthrax toxin can be converted to toxoid and used as vaccine for human use. Okay. And this only used for high risk person, that is person who are subjected or exposed to anthrax bacillus. Okay. And this vaccine or toxoid vaccine consists of 3 doses, and these 3 doses given intramuscularly at interval of 6 weeks between first and second, and 6 months between second and third, which induces good immunity to the humans. Okay, that's all about prophylaxis. And next is treatment. Here antibiotic therapy is effective in humans but rare in animals. That is, this antibiotic therapy succeed in animals only when the treatment started in the early stage itself. And this anthrax bacillus is susceptible or sensitive to sulfonamides, penicillin, erythromycin, doxycycline, chloramphenicol, ciprofloxacin, etc. So these types of antibiotics can be used for the treatment of anthrax in humans. Okay, but there is some strains which are resistant to penicillin, and doxycycline and ciprofloxacin are commonly used as effective in prophylaxis as well as in treatment. Okay, that's all about treatment, and we'll meet you with the next video. Thank you.